This is Out Loud and Laughing.
What's up, Chosen fam? We have a very special episode today because the Chosen family is meeting the original family. Today's guest didn't just influence our lives, he's a massive reason why John and I are the men we are today. He's a Cuban immigrant who built a life from the ground up, a retired public servant who kept South Florida running, and a man who spent his weekends teaching us how to fly kites and crash electronic airplanes. He is my dad, John's uncle, pseudo dad, and the man with more grit than a construction site. Please welcome the legendary Tom, but we know him as Dad and Deal. Hi, Dad.
Hi, how are
Hey,
you guys?
doing awesome, Theo. Welcome to the pod. Okay, before we get into the heavy stuff, we have to explain to our chosen family because people think that we're just close, right? But it goes way deeper than that. So, my dad, Frank, and you, Deal Tom, are brothers, right? And so then we have my mom, Olga, and then your wife, Brian's mom, B. They're sisters. So two brothers married two sisters and moved down the road from each other. Deal, I have to ask, looking back at those early days in Florida, did you and my dad realize that you guys were essentially building a small Cuban colony in the suburbs?
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course, we always kept our culture going. So it was trying to get everybody to be part of family-oriented time throughout life, and that's why we stayed pretty close.
Yeah, and I remember also, now that you're saying that, every holiday, specifically Christmas, you guys would keep your traditional roots going with the pig roast, but it wasn't just our family you were doing that for. When I remember back, it was the community that you brought together. So I love that you just explained that. That makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, sometimes, the family, when we get together, we talk about the same things over and over again. And it's always nice to bring outside our family, friends, neighbors, just to know us and we know them and change the conversation throughout that whole togetherness time that we had through the holidays.
Love that.
I mean, the problem is people end up seeing our crazy though, so you gotta be careful, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's true with any family.
Yeah, but ours especially. So, Dad, we want to talk about like you worked crazy hours in construction and public works for Hollandale, Miami Gardens, and you were a fixer of the family. Something was broken, you didn't stop until it worked. Where does that determination and curiosity come from?
I guess it comes from my dad. He had things around the house that he would fix. Re-roofing was not to a contractor. We did that ourselves. So it just became that sort of knowledge that you get and you continue on to help people, help the family, help in things that break down and all that stuff. So it really was um, that keeps me going to today. I got to keep busy and I got to, fix things.
No, this is really true. So I just have a real life story. Like literally our steamer at the house was broken. And steamers now cost like maybe 20 bucks to replace. But my dad had to fix the broken steamer, ordered a part, did everything he could, probably spent 2 days to get it done because he had to wait for the part to get delivered. It didn't take him 2 days. But this is just something that you do, Dad, right? You just like to fix things no matter how big or small they are.
Yeah, and another thing too, I can say my older brother was in electronics. So at that time, we didn't have those little circuits that had a million transistors. I mean, we saw the actual transistor resistors and all that parts. And so I knew the knowledge of it. So with what you just said, I had to break up the steamer and see where it was. And of course, where I went to learn a lot? YouTube. That's
Yeah.
that's the best place to go and look for things how to fix.
But they didn't have YouTube back when you were younger, and I'm wondering if this was a little bit of the Cuban upbringing, right? Because you were talking about your older brother, you talked about your dad. Was this just sort of, like, innate inside of you, or were you just getting tired of Brian and I breaking everything?
No, as we were brought up, we weren't given a lot of toys at Christmas. It
Yeah.
was a sharing thing. Once we got tired of it, we tore it apart. We wanted to see what made it work. And so that's where we got that situation of, hey, before you throw it out, see how it works. And then if you can fix it or just know the parts and how they work. And that's how it's been throughout my life.
Yeah, so we talk about Cuba breaking things apart, but we talk a little bit about your journey to the US too. Like it was a family with 3 other brothers, your parents, you moved to California. What was that like?
Yeah, my dad actually owned the shell company down there. And over there, they don't have underground gas lines, so he had to deliver the tanks. So the whole family, the Ruiz family, actually got together in the background. I never saw it, but after a while, I was able to learn about the family and how we got out of Cuba. and everybody was together to get out. So they created a plan to get out of Cuba. Of course, we did it in a legal way, but we had to leave everything behind, our home, my dad's business, everything. We only came to the United States with $27. So it was kinda
Jeez.
a hard thing to get over here, but we got, picked up by the church to help us get going, and that's how we continue going up and about where we're at today.
I mean, and then also lots of hard work, and, we definitely remember that. You were talking about exactly what life was like in Cuba. You guys came to the United States. You had these beautiful families. We're kind of fast forwarding here to the best part where Brian and I come in. But honestly, I have to say the work sustained. You guys worked so hard. You kept a good family. And then the weekends would come. And then that's where I had tons of vivid memories. Everybody would work all week, but then Saturday would hit. And, I remember we had the pool and we had so many different activities from Indian guides, which was sort of like the Boy Scouts, but maybe the Timu version. Um, but, but you, Deal, all I can remember growing up was you having this beautiful, incredible, goofy side. You were always laughing and joshing around with us. But I have to ask, what was one of your favorite memories as us as kids, or maybe as a time when Brian and I were just being a little crazy or extra?
There was quite a few, but I remember, there was an open field and we all went walking. And so somehow I was behind you and I hit your foot. And so you went flying. And then when you got home, somebody says, your arm is starting to feel hot. And you're saying, I can't move my arm. So I can say that by hitting your foot, you broke your arm.
The drama starts early, I get it.
Exactly. So we were always together doing things,
I love it.
It
That's a
wasn't,
good one.
we didn't have a lot of money, but we always found ways of in the enjoyment of family going out, We didn't have to go to a fancy hotel when we went someplace. We took a camper, you know,
Yeah,
our and so we always had fun one way or another,
it's so
Eh,
true.
eh,
I mean, there's a couple of things with this first story for everyone to listen. First, my dad did accidentally hurt John, but he also was present when our older siblings broke bones too, correct, Dad? Like, Carolyn got her shoulder out of the socket, Chris fell off a roof when he was with you, so, not that Dad's irresponsible, because he's not, but have kept my distance, guys, because my bones are intact.
yeah, for sure.
I'll have to say though, that looking back, it looked like this, like, weird story, but now that we're, like, talking about it, like, it just proves to you that you're the most fun one. I mean, you can't, like, be getting into those scenarios if you're not having a good time.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. It was fun, though. Sometimes, yeah, sad and all that kinda stuff, but, you know, life's got a journey, and you gotta continue following, you know?
So true.
I agree. Also, like, I wanna talk a little bit because we talk about not having that much money, and I agree. But we also need to unpack that when you and John's dad, Deal, had a hobby, you guys went all in on this hobby, even though we didn't have money. For example, that field you talked about, you guys put a lot of money into these little helicopters that you guys would fly, right? That was like the
Yeah,
original drone.
exactly, exactly. I mean, we just pick it up and bring back down, and we crash it. We broke the propellers, and it was like a mess all the time.
But wait, I also, like, I'm going way, way back. I think Brian and I may have been 2 years old, but, like, even the Halloween party that you guys, were part of, I think it was for that guy Victor Posner. Like, you came out, like, completely in full prosthetics, dressed as a scary monk and lighting candles. My dad in a coffin dressed as Dracula. You guys were nuts.
No, I know, I remember all that makeup we put, and then toward the end of the night, it was just dragging down the face?
Ugh, that's too funny. Dad, I have a question, and we asked mom this too, because we're interested, right? Like, as John and I were growing up, looking back now, obviously John and I are in our 40s now. Um, were there clues that we were a little bit different than other boys, right? Like, did you see the gay in us before we even saw it?
Well, yeah, well, you guys were always around girls,
Yeah.
and I'm
Mhm.
saying, "Oh, wow, they're gonna have" and they were nice looking girls, and I'm
Yeah.
going, "Oh, they're gonna be married with nice looking girls." But then, I started realizing a little bit, mom and I started talking and all that kinda stuff, and we kinda started seeing, the difference, and so when you left us that letter, it kinda continue, kind of proved it, that you were coming out, and letting us know. Yeah, we sat there and we talked about it, and it was like, we love you guys. We we're not going to, go against anything. It was at that time it was a hard life because it was, homosexuals weren't, uh, uh, like I want to say,
Not accepted.
yeah, and also the AIDS situation at that time. AIDS
Mhm.
was a killer,
Yep.
and we were saying, I hope, everything goes good. It's their life, and we love you guys, and we just have to, embrace it. And today, we don't go against you guys. It's just continuing on, and we love you guys for for who you are.
That's one thing that we have to take a minute here to give you and TB a lot of credit. You know, you guys, this must have been a journey for you as well, and something that we talk about a lot here is that it's not just a journey for us, it's also a journey for the family and the parents, and I admire that you both did the work. It's been a long journey for our family. We've been out now for over 20 years, but you never lost your love for us, and you both, especially you, took the time to truly understand our lives as men and more so as your sons, um regardless, right? Was there a specific moment where things sort of clicked for you, or do you think it was just more natural, right? Like this evolution of these are my boys no matter what. Like what was that journey like for you?
Yeah, no, as I was saying, we had it inside of us that that was what you guys were headed for, and the letter from Brian kind of let us know, and made it 100%.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of, again, we loved you guys, and we didn't want to lose you. I lost my mother for many years for a stupid thing, in
Mhm.
life, and we just didn't wanna lose you guys either, and we just kept on going with, your journey, our journey, and putting both journeys together.
Brian, if I could add one thing before we go into our next topic here, I wanted to say that I remembered about you, Dio, specifically was when I was coming out of the closet to my mom and dad. I was 26. I was at your house. It was after the holidays and I was getting ready to fly back to Chicago. And you gave me such words of encouragement. You reminded me that you would be there regardless of what happened. And I remember that. So thank you. And that was so long ago, but it stays with me. So thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I think for the listeners too, the way I came out to my parents is slightly different than most people. I actually wrote a letter and left it on the table for them to read on their own. And I did that, and it wasn't because I was scared of them or telling them, but I just knew that they would need time to process. And I don't want a heated conversation. And so when my dad references the letter, just so context so people can understand, that's how I did it. And my parents took some time, then they came up to New York and we had a good conversation. And now I'm married with kids to a man. So here we are. But time flies.
Time
All
flies.
all right, Dad. So the next topic that we want to talk about is like you've obviously spent an amazing career in being a public servant. Like you spent a lot of time in construction, but then you kind of shifted over and started serving the community, building literally infrastructure for cities like Miami Gardens that was zero to nothing until you kind of joined those cities. Now you're retired and you can kind of look back at your whole journey from Cuba in the 50s to seeing your son and nephew living their truths. But like, what are you most proud of for yourself? Give it like in
Well,
your time.
yeah, first of all, I'm proud to be an American, of course. That
Yeah.
was,
Mhm.
one of the, things in my life. I also, I was in the Air Force, so I wanted to also be part of the United States. Um, as far as I've learned a lot. I've gone through. I also became an aircraft mechanic, and I learned a lot through there too. I went into construction, which I thought I never would be going to construction, but I did, and continued on. And then I went to the actual being a servant for the people through the government, and there, what happened was that you at that time, you go into government, you say, "Well, I kinda tell people what to do," but you don't listen. I learned a lot on how to listen when I was because I always jumped in conclusions, and I learned how to listen being in as a servant, and it was great, putting my career and everything I've learned into that, which made it a lot better for me take care of the city, where the city of Miami Gardens, which I was the first public works director, and that you never get that in any life as a public servant, and started from scratch and put the whole department. And then 20 years later, I retired not too long ago. So it was a
Abs
good experience.
Absolutely, congratulations on your retirement and a very successful career. On the flip side of that, though, we obviously turned out to be quite the handful, because look at us go. What's the one thing about the 2 of us today, though, that makes you the proudest uncle/dad when you're talking to your friends or the rest of the family about us?
Pretty much, I tell everybody where you guys, where you guys are at now, in life and doing these podcasts and getting into your actual careers, which is, a lot,
Mhm.
compared to because our thing between your mom and I was in life, every family has to go from one level to the next. The next one does better than the first one and all the way up, and that's how it should be. You help out to the next level, and then that level needs to help the following level so they can, get higher in life, you know?
I mean, you gotta give yourself a little bit of credit, right? A lot of this grit that we have is because of watching you and Teal do so much and work so hard, right?
Yeah. It was hard because sometimes we weren't home to actually see you guys grow, and in the background, we were, getting home late. You guys were already asleep, and of course, I wanted to get in the room, and I think I've tried to wake you guys up some nights when I got home because I hadn't seen you all day, so
Aw. I will say though that it's really funny that here are Brian and I, sort of launching this endeavor, and there was a time that, you worked with my dad too, and it just feels that our family, although not perfect, we definitely come together to get a lot of really great things done. The projects that you and my dad have worked on over the years have been so memorable. So you guys instilled a lot of the importance of staying together as a family as well. I think you guys really exemplified that.
yeah, I think sometimes, family, sometimes they don't have sometimes the respect between what you're gonna say, and sometimes it hurts people. But you have to go beyond that, and if that happens and there's a quarrel or something, you need to get together, communicate, and continue on, because if not, like I said, like my mother that I didn't see for 30 years, for that little thing, and that we never got together, and that's what happens. You lose in life like that.
You lose a lot of time, and it's such a precious thing you can't get back, and I think, John, you bring up an interesting point because I never thought about it. You and I thought we were doing something special, doing something together, but our dads already had a whole construction company called the Ruiz Brothers, so we're literally just copying them, just digitally.
We're building something a little different, right?
Yeah.
I
That's
love it.
funny.
Okay, Dad, before we move on to our game, though, like, you're in retirement now, so, like, what you're doing so many amazing things from being a grandfather, or our kids call you Poppy, to traveling, to still fixing things around the house. Like, how are you enjoying your time off?
I'm doing good. It was always a thing of what am I gonna do when I retire? And of course, I finished my book,
Yeah, you're
my life book. I've already done a couple of uh, children's books, and I want to continue doing those sort of things because I have to keep, like I said, I got to keep busy. I mean, the house can only break so much to
Then you
fix.
come to mind.
Is that what-
I know you're maintaining many homes right now.
like now I'm looking at replacing your window in your garage.
Yes.
That's
Dad
good.
likes a list, though. He's good
Yeah,
at it.
of
All
course.
right, Dad. We've done the deep dive, and now it's time for you to enter the hot seat. We play this game, as you know, with our guest called This or That. But since you're the man who can fix anything, we're calling it This or That, the Master Fixer Edition. So, again, no overthinking, just the first thing that comes to mind. You ready?
It's time for another round of this or that, the unhinged get to know you game.
Okay. The first one is, do you prefer an early morning shift or a late night project?
Early morning shift.
Okay, we asked this to all the people, but I'm gonna ask this in regards to yourself, right? So, do you like scruff on your face or no scruff, like a smooth shaven face on, for yourself?
Smooth
Yeah,
shaving
your
face.
your wife said the same thing, by the way.
I
Well,
hope so.
he
Yeah.
he had that '80s mustache,
I
though.
know.
Have you ever thought about growing stuff back out, though? Because 'Cause you've always been clean shaven after you shaved the mustache off. You've never done more
Yeah,
again.
but the whole thing is, it doesn't come out evenly, and it
Yeah.
makes it look, nothing that I would like.
I inherited
That's where you
that.
get it from, Brian. Yeah.
I get, like I'm little patches of hair. I don't have any full hair.
Exactly.
God,
Where
and
John can do a full beard.
if I turn around in the mirror, I'm like, "When did I shave last?" My gosh,
I know. I know.
so
Yeah.
fast.
Okay. Do you want a job well done or a job done fast?
A job well done, done fast. No.
I
That's
mean,
that's director talk right there.
that's kinda
Exactly.
fair.
No, you gotta
Uh,
I always strive to perfection, and not that when you finish, it's perfection, but at least you're close to it, and that's how I also always put my
I always learned good, fast, cheap, and you can only pick 2. Like, it's like
that's right.
you get good, you get cheap, you get fast, you get good. Um, anyway, do you prefer camping in the woods or just going to the beach for a good beach day?
Um, Camping in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of great memories with you guys on
We
just
had so many
camping.
great memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a more I know the beach is relaxing too, but it's strenuous to me because I can't swim.
Yeah.
So if I go, I just kinda put it in my feet in the water and only go to my waist, and if we got big waves, I'm coming in. I'm not gonna get
Yeah.
underneath.
That's true. You're also bad at relaxing, so camping allows you to kinda do stuff too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, oh, exactly.
Tinker.
Since you've been retired, even prior, you're all about the cooking now, so would you rather cook a Cuban meal or eat out at a restaurant?
Uh, Cook a Cuban meal.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
Bring me home. I love that.
I know. I just get a glass of wine and in the kitchen and just go at it.
Do you turn on music when you cook, or is it like the TV instead?
No, I do once in a while, but not really.
I yell at my Alexa, I don't wanna say her name, but I yell at her to play me some playlist music, it's fun. Okay, I kinda know the answer to this, but we're gonna ask
Same.
you anyway. Would you rather fix it yourself or call a pro?
Fix it myself.
There's no pro next to you and my dad,
No.
like, you guys are the pros.
I remember my dad saying something. He says, "If somebody else can do it, you can do it." So, I always saw the professionals doing it, and then I said, "Oh, that's easy. I'm not gonna pay this, person to do that when I can do it."
Yeah,
So,
Yeah. That's really good.
if
No, also fun fact, when I moved into my house, our basement was not finished, and I wanted to finish the basement, so my dad and John's dad just flew up and spent probably 8 to 10 days just did the whole basement themselves. They said, "We'll do it."
yeah. Oh,
unreal,
we
unreal.
love renovations. That's
Yeah.
one of those
Yes,
things.
and you hadn't done that with your brother in quite a while, so that was also, I think, special for you too, because you guys haven't done a project together like that. So,
Yeah, exactly. So we had to get into it because when he's doing something, um, I'm there to help him out, and I know, hey, before he gets, give me a hammer. Here's the hammer, and the other way around. When I'm doing something, then he'll just give me what I need next because we both know what to do. To do a project.
That's so funny. Brian and I feel the same way about this project. We sort of we hot potato back and forth.
okay, Dad, would you rather build a house or build a legacy?
Ooh, I would say build a legacy.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah,
That's the house,
yeah.
right? Like, that's the house you can't that's the house you can't see.
Exactly. As long
Yeah.
as it doesn't cave in or anything like that.
A little leak here and there. Um, last one, Dio, and, you can really think about this one, but, uh, working with your hands or leading with your heart?
Leading with my heart. Yeah.
You always have. You
No,
really
thank
And a
you.
always have.
and a joke or 2.
Yeah,
Of course.
exactly.
Always the humor.
Always the humor. Dio, thank you so much, for coming on today. Happy Father's Day, by the
Thank
way,
you.
and, for being such an open book with us and a rock, especially for the both of us. It means the world to have you here.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me here. on your podcast.
Yes, of course. Love you, Dad. You're the original chosen family
And
member.
love
All
you
right.
guys too.
Thank you. Of course, the love is mutual. All right, chosen fam, that's our show. Remember to continue chasing those dreams, stay authentic, stay loud, and keep laughing. We'll see you next week. Love you. Mean it. Bye.
This was Out Loud and Laughing.
We're available everywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, iHeart, or wherever.